Hello, I'm Karin and I welcome you to Easy Veganism here at VegFest 2017. I nearly forgot what year it was. I'm that fried, and we've got about 1 million of these sessions over the weekend. So really thankful for you taking time out to be here today. Anyone here your first VegFest? Yay! Have you seen us in any newspapers or anything, or heard us on any radio? Yeah, and online, that's great. Well, look, we thought we'd try something new and fantastic, and hello to the camera again, and talk about different frequently asked questions, especially for people that are thinking about going vegan, or maybe you've just gone vegan and you want some reassurance, or you just want to find out, some more interesting information about veganism and a vegan lifestyle from our super cool experts that we have here. I wondered, who here is already a vegan? God. Oh, only a couple. Yay. And guy at the back eating sandwiches or something. So everybody else, are you kind of thinking about going vegan then? Oh, that's wonderful. Well, you're in the right place because we've got some amazing people here. My name's Karin. There were some flyers around. I run VeggieVision TV. I'm going to give myself a blatant plug. So what? So what, Tim? You can't stop me.
No, we're not intending to. No.
And I do my best to address the fact that there isn't veganism on TV, and work very closely with my super best friend, Tim Barford, who is Mr. VegFest. If it wasn't for Tim, there wouldn't be a VegFest. So we actually have the Mr. VegFest in the house, and he really loves me saying that, don't you?
She does.
Oh,
yeah.
Shut up. Shut up, Karin. We work very closely together, and part of my role with VegFest, I look after the promotion, which I'm so thankful that I get a chance to spread a positive vegan message to the media, and I coach journalists and some celebrities to be vegan as well. And funny enough, that all started with year one of Veganuary, believe it or not, when Veganuary launched, and I supported the TV presenter Jasmine Harmon and Uri Geller because they decided they wanted to be vegan. And I've become quite close with Uri Geller and with Jasmine Harmon as well. And we have Veganuary in the middle over there as well. Shall I do slides next, or should we do introductions? What should we do?
So some introductions,
I think introductions will be fabulous. So, gorgeous people sitting on the sofa. They know all about this topic. First of all, I'm going to go to the middle because we have Rob Masterson of Veganuary, and he knows all about 30-day pledges. And if he doesn't, he will find out for us because he's that cool kind of guy.
Yeah, sure.
So Veganuary, everybody heard of Veganuary in here? Okay. No? Well, we'll find out in a bit, won't we? Let's go to Alex Douglas next, who is joining us from the Vegan Society. I'm going to read out your fabulous title because it's Volunteer and Engagement Manager.
It's a bit of a mouthful, I'm sorry.
It is. It's fabulous. I love it. It sounds so professional, which is wonderful. And then we have Ben Martin on the end from Animal Aid, who is another super title, Campaign Manager and the Great Vegan Challenge in November. You look after that as well, don't you? So we've got all of these kind of like 30-day, easy kind of steps into being vegan. And we're going to find out a little bit more about them. And we are also going to find out how effective they are. So let's just go on the edge of my chair. And there you go. Here's some slides. Here's a Veganuary slide, if you can see it. Look at that fabulous colours, all that information. I am not going to read it out. You can read it if you want, but be quick because I'm going to hit the button and turn over. So we've got some great stats there. Reasons for taking part. 27,000 people took part, and it was all because of animal welfare. Diets before Veganuary. We had 9,000 odd people that were pescatarian. I don't believe in that word, to be honest with you. I don't think it's such a word, but that's just me. But they were, and then they did Veganuary. And interesting, I find that interesting, it's something we might talk about, is that 88% of people are female, which I just find that quite, 1% preferred not to say. Okay. Let's go to the next slide. So look, these 30-day challenges, it's not just the challenge, it's the awareness, it's the social media, and it's the promotion and the advertising. I mean, imagine getting on the tube. I didn't go up to London at that time, and I'm gutted, because imagine getting on the tube and you see that. I would have burst out crying with happiness if I had seen that advert, but I didn't. Look at this, in the media, thousands and thousands of pounds worth of free publicity. And as a PR person, I love free publicity, and especially when it's all to do with veganism. So Veganuary, vegan restaurants, hot trends. I like to be a hot trend. Everyone's doing it this month. Did you know that? Everybody is doing it this month. Veganuary. Veganism in the media. So it's more than just the 30-day pledge. It's all about what it brings to the table. So look, we've got our experts here. Tell us then, let's start with you in the middle, my lovely. Veganuary. I'm just going to call you Veganuary. So then we all know. Why? Why a 30-day pledge? Why?
I think, well, we were inspired by the Movember campaign.
Yep.
And we thought a lot of people have New Year's resolutions, so why not do a New Year's resolution, or perhaps a challenge or a pledge in January, so Vegan January. Now, our founder is quite articulate, and he actually came up with the name Veganuary. So that was it. Started in 2013, and it's just grown and grown and grown. And we feel that perhaps if people are given a short time to do something, change their behaviours, change their diets, perhaps they're more likely to stick at it long term. So that was really the inspiration for Veganuary.
For Veganuary, what do you offer that person that's taking part? What are they going to get support-wise from Veganuary?
So, good question. We offer, when people sign up to Veganuary, we offer them a daily email, and that's got lots of hints and tips, recipes. There's guides on there. There's information about eating out as well. So we built some strong relationships up with the chains that you may see in the high street, like ZZ's or Bar One. It was really about help, information, guidance, and support during January. People may say we're really busy December and January with our tube poster campaign and doing other things, but we're there 365 days a year for people. And we've also got a Veganuary Facebook group. So for the people that are thinking about being vegan, please sign up to that today, and I'll get the news feed from that and notifications. And there's so many hints and suggestions as a community of vegans and people trying veganism. There's literally things coming through per minute, per hour. People buying different products in supermarkets, people eating out. So it's really about sharing information of how easy it is to be vegan. I think we have a little catchphrase that the most difficult part about Veganuary is actually saying it and getting your tongue around that. So, that's it really in a nutshell for us.
And I think, what I found interesting, say with the social media side of Veganuary, is how supportive the Facebook group actually was. Now, I'm very busy, so, I pop online and I share interesting things, and obviously talking about VegFest. What stuck in my mind over January is people had genuine questions. It's their first steps into being vegan, and they were sharing interesting information. But everybody was actually very supportive. And sometimes on social media, you can get some, negativity, and people are not that supportive. But I actually found the opposite with Veganuary. It was a very supportive sort of social media support.
And I think really that's what we try to promote, and it is all about support. We promote we can't criticise people, and people will make mistakes, especially when they're transitioning to veganism. But for us, it is about the support, it's about the advice, it's about the guidance. So it is a very non-judgmental as well. So that's how we operate that group.
Well, let's go over to Alex now, who's here with the Vegan Society, who again, been around since 1944, I think, with the Vegan Society. And both Tim and I have been directors of the Vegan Society as well. What does the Vegan Society offer for their 30 days, and how does it perhaps differ
I think the main thing with our 30-day vegan pledge that differs from Veganuary is ours runs continuously.
Yeah.
So you can sign up today to our 30-day vegan pledge, and you'll start getting the emails tomorrow, for example, and that runs for 30 days. So it's not like you start it on the 1st of January, for example. You can start it whenever you want, and you get the emails just for 30 days from whenever you sign up on our website. So ours has been running since 2008, so only a little bit longer than Veganuary. And I think it was we just saw that, like we were saying, there's support that's needed, and we saw that, and, we thought the easiest way to do it is we used to have a 7-day vegan pledge, actually, and a 30-day vegan pledge, but we got rid of that a few years ago because the 30-day vegan pledge has so much great information that we just wanted to get that out to people as much as possible.
And I'd say sorry to interrupt you, but if you're looking to change your habit, okay, 7 days, that I don't think that's enough personally to change your habits.
Because I think, if you want to do it, do something for 7 days, you can change your breakfast up for 7 days and go vegan for breakfast. And then the next week, go vegan for breakfast and lunch. And then the next week, try it going vegan all day. And that's something that you can do with the assistance of the Vegan Pledge for 30 days anyway. So, but I was just thinking when you guys were talking about the Facebook group for Veganuary, I'm on it too. I've been vegan for 11 years, but I'm still on the Veganuary Facebook group because it is so supportive, and it's really a lovely community. And one of the posts that actually struck me was, I think a lady posted a before and after photo of her face, and she used to suffer with really bad acne. And then when she started doing the 30-day, the Veganuary, she posted an after photo and just spoke about how happy she was and how much better she felt about herself. And I was like, that's the kind of community that you're getting into when you go vegan. And I think that's really cool.
And I think that for us, that's very rewarding as well. It's changing people's lives, and also it's saving the suffering animals as well, isn't it? So it's very rewarding for us as an organisation.
Brilliant. Ben, let's head over to you then, and Animal Aid, which, I think Animal Aid, from what I've heard, everybody's got good things to say about Animal Aid.
I'm glad to hear it.
It seems to be, one of the nicest kind of places, organisations, and no disrespect to any other group or any other organisations. I grew up personally with Viva. As they launched, I went vegan, and that they've been a part of my vegan journey. But just always good things about Animal Aid. Why is that? And what do you do for your 30 days?
I couldn't say why. Well, I guess we're just a friendly group, I think that's true of all the others too. I don't know why we've been.
Yeah, you're just modest.
Why we're singled out for praise, I don't know.
Had a particularly good man in Andrew Tyler.
We
did.
Your upper management are superb, actually.
They are. They care about the
really
organisation. They care about what we do.
Good.
So I think that's probably.
He's retired now, Andrew, but he did a long service.
He did.
Yeah.
But to go back to our challenges, we actually do 2 a month-long vegan challenges. We do one in November, which is called the Great Vegan Challenge, which we've been running since 2012. It's kind of on a similar vein to Veganuary, really. It's kind of, we give support throughout the month. I guess sort of the differences with us is that we provide a lot more offline support as well. We found that we'd get contacted by people who didn't have access to the internet or intermittently, and so they were interested in having offline stuff as well. So we send a welcome pack through the post to everyone who takes part, which can get quite busy in the run-up to November, filling all those envelopes. But we had 2,500 people take part for the one that's just gone. And the welcome pack basically includes a little booklet that has recipes, as well as advice about nutrition, shopping tips, vegan products, all sorts of things, really. It's kind of a bit of a go-to, one-stop kind of vegan guide, effectively. And we also have sort of top 10 tips as well, which were kind of things that we kind of thought are things that kind of take a little bit of time for vegans to kind of get to know, things that aren't immediately obvious, but once you've been vegan for a couple of years, you probably find out on your own. So we kind of put a little list together of those, as well as sort of vegan events going on across the country. One of the things we also do that kind of makes that kind of differentiates us a little bit is we also organise a trip to a local animal sanctuary as well for people taking part in the challenge, so that they can effectively get to meet some of the animals that they're saving, and that's part of what we do with the challenge, and that we want to make it so that the whole idea is to get people to stay vegan. We don't want people just to go vegan for 30 days. We kind of think, how can we get people to stay that way? And one of the things we thought was basically, if we can get people to play with a pig, they're not likely to have bacon sandwiches ever again. So, and it's been really, really successful. The other one we do actually is in February. We do one that's just for students as well, which it works on a similar sort of model, and obviously it's just for 28 days because it's February. So yeah, and that kind of focuses on some of the issues that students particularly that have, like inadequate cooking facilities and low budgets and things like that. So.
Okay. So overall, everybody, I think, the Vegan Society, Veganuary, Animal Aid, there's a lot of similarities for the 30 days. There's a lot of different, some different things for each thing as well. It makes sense to me, although I know there's a lot of, arguments to and against maybe a shorter period of time. I think for me, wearing my PR hat when I'm coaching a journalist to be vegan, it's very different because they're not doing it because they want to feel healthy, or they've got a health challenge, or they suddenly have clicked that, oh my God, that's the rotting flesh of a dead animal and I don't want to eat it. I'm phoning them up out of the blue and they're like, well, I didn't even think about going veggie. Actually, this will make an interesting article. So they're coming from it at from a very different point of view. Now, if I say to them, I will coach you, for the rest of your life. I'm not asking a big thing, but, you're 25, so, would you go vegan for the next 50, 60 years? I kind of get a feeling I know what the answer is going to be. But I like to do it a bit light and fluffy. And for me, I want to get VegFest in the media. I want to get a positive vegan message in the media. So, I have a chat with them. I'm myself. I'm bubbly. I'm so enthusiastic about it. And it's like no one's ever said no when I phone them up to say, that they just think, oh, gosh, that would be a really cool feature on the radio or in a newspaper. So, what I'm saying is they're coming from a different point of view, but I have to kind of say to them, and I know Tim would ideally like them to commit to 3 weeks or 4 weeks, really the rest of their life, but, I kind of let them, okay, a week, really it should be 2 weeks, and really all of them, Tim, they've all come back and said, oh my God, you've changed my life. I mean, one woman, Paulina,
Great.
she said, I take the piss out of vegetarians, let alone vegans. I couldn't care less about veganism. Doesn't interest me whatsoever, but I'll do it because it'll be an interesting feature. And she did it. And weeks later, I dropped her a line to say, well, look, what's going on? I went through her diet. We went, talked about when she gets up, how she feels, different things, easy steps to veganising your diet, because you have to hold their hand. It's a media person. And she said, Karin, you've changed my life. I'm never going to take the piss out of vegetarians again. I get it. And I don't think I'm ever going to eat meat again. Now, I don't know if she has now stayed being vegan, but this is the response I'm getting. And the purpose and the point of what I'm saying is I'm just saying do it step by step, do it for a week or two, see how you feel. And they've got any little niggling challenges, we talk about them, we iron them out. They feel fantastic, they do not want to go back. But if I had said to them, do it for a year, do it for 5 years, do it for the rest of your life, they wouldn't have been able to. However, they're not doing it for the reasons that you guys are doing it, because I'm confident that your reasons are to do with your health, to do with animals, to do with the planet. But for me, I do feel that giving them that 30 days, it's not too scary. However, what happens after the 30 days, and then they decide to go back to the regular, non-vegan
what is
diet.
interesting?
So it was a bit long-winded, but I just wanted to tell you my little story. You don't mind, do you?
That's out of interest. I think it's a good point that Karin is that how many people how many people, for instance, Rob, I think your figures currently are something like, did I read something like 67% of Veganuary participants are staying vegan?
Yeah, that's correct.
And out of the other 33%, I believe 97% are saying they will be eating less meat and dairy.
Yeah.
So it's basically
yeah.
every one of these 60,000 people, bar 2,000 or 3,000 people, 57, 58,000 people are now changing their lives.
Yeah.
So, Karin, although you've mentioned, I think this is one of the problems that people put about the 30-day pledge is, well, surely veganism should be for life. And of course it should be, but as Karin said, part of the idea is to try and get people to go vegan initially. But yeah, what do you do to help people stay after?
I mean, I think that's really what we've done. We've got the website. People will have during January daily emails. Then afterwards we do intermittent emails. So we send out eating out tips. We send out recipes. We just really provide support emails to people. We've actually got a presentation on at 2:00, and I've got lots of facts and figures going through my head at the moment. But it is amazing what you say there, Tim. There's a lot of people that, even though they're not going to remain vegan, their meat and dairy consumption has been reduced substantially. So we're always updating the website as well. There's lots of good resources on there. The starter kit, I mean, if you join up today, you can have access to the starter kit anyway. And I think the favourite part in the starter kit for me is the accidentally vegan products, because there are lots of accidentally vegan products out there. So I don't know if I should be marketing, but Walker's prawn cocktail crisps are accidentally vegan. Oreos are accidentally vegan, and I think there's a Guinness beef steak type of crisp by one manufacturer that's accidentally vegan. So again, it's putting advice, guidance, tips out there to people 365 days a year. So yeah, that's it really, to help people and support them. And we appreciate everybody. I can't remember the figures off the top of my head, but people won't stay vegan. I think we had 12% that said they wouldn't stay vegan. But again, they know about Veganuary. In fact, people that I know, friends that are meat eaters, keep referring to Veganuary and sending me links through social media of new vegan restaurants and cafes that are opening up. So sort of the power of the campaign has just got so widespread. So.
And I think the recommendation rates as well for Veganuary will probably be similar to the Vegan Society. So we get about between 1,000 and 2,000 people doing a 30-day vegan pledge every month. So obviously not quite as good as Veganuary's numbers, but between 71% and 82% of people stay vegan after doing our pledge. And for the rest of that percentage, they try and go vegan and try and be vegan as much as possible. But our recommendation rate is 96% of people who take our pledge recommend it to family and friends and talk about it and, get people to try it themselves. And I think our percentages as well, 36% of people who take our pledge actually get another person to go vegan, at least one other person to go vegan after taking our pledge. So I think it's got a knock-on effect, definitely. It's like a domino effect almost.
I've just got to say, because it's like, try to go vegan. It just makes me laugh. I said to my son Callum, who's out there on Team Vegan, and he's nearly 11 now, and I said to him, darling, what advice would you give, a 10-year-old boy, what advice would you give to someone who's trying to go vegan? And he just looked at me as though I was mental. He just said, what do you mean trying to go vegan? You just don't eat non-vegan food. You just live... He just couldn't get his head around, trying to be vegan. But, that's obviously because, I've brought him up vegan and I've told him, the truth appropriate to his age, and I've let him, I say to him now, you can make a decision. You can be who you want. It's up to you. But it's just funny that some people don't get trying to be vegan, because I didn't get it 20 years ago.
Well, I think most people don't, Karin. I mean, to be honest, unless you're born vegan or you're raised vegan, nearly all of us are really not going to get veganism at all straight away. And I think, it does take...
It just clicked with me.
It does take a trouble. It does take time. Well, I think there's some people will receive new information just like that, take it on. And then there's a lot of us who will take some of it on, not quite sure, you know. And then you've got the people who will just ridicule it and just laugh at it and just dismiss it. But that's very common in all walks of life with all new ideas. You know, quite often they're met with a group of people who go, wow, yeah, yes. A group of people who go, absolutely not. And a lot of us in the middle are a bit undecided. So I think it's really important. I think the 30-day process is, I do a dry January every year in sort of empathy with the Veganuary people. So for the last 4 years, I do not go down the pub or touch alcohol for at least 1 month. Try and do a dry for February too, but I get as far as always. And what it teaches me is there's almost undoubtedly a time, and I'm sure anybody doing a 30-day pledge would agree, that there comes a time when you are about to give up, and you're about to relapse, or you're about, in my case, to nip off down the pub and sink a couple of halves. But part of the whole thing I like about the Veganuary and the Animal Aid and the Vegan Society pledges, and indeed Viva do a similar one, is this discipline. And being vegan for a lot of us is about an understanding, about working out what vegan is and why we should go vegan, and then trying vegan lifestyle. But then it's about staying vegan, and that requires discipline. And there's always times when we, especially early on, may be really tempted to go back to our favourite animal product or our favourite, you know, and we're humans, we're tempted. So this discipline area of developing discipline, what I like about this 30 day is that you pledge for 30 days, which means, you know, you're going to do your 30 days. And in that process, you almost undoubtedly go through a real testing time. And it's kind of coming through that testing time that I think cements really the reasons why you're doing this.
Yeah, that's
it's almost like when your back's against the wall. Am I going to go and eat that doner kebab or that sausage roll or that cream cake? And it's, no, I'm not. I'm going to seek a plant-based alternative.
Well, you can have that vegan sausage roll, that vegan cake, because obviously there's everything vegan.
And having all this support to help remind you, I think in the early days is a massive base. I think that's why there's so much success.
So guys, what do you think out there as well? Just sorry to cut you off there, Tim, but what do you think the 30-day pledges sound like a positive idea?
Any questions?
Has anyone done Veganuary or taken one of the 30-day pledges? Yeah?
So do you find from your experience that... Let me get your mic, mate, just 1 second, so that the film... No, it's all right, then everyone can hear you, especially on the film too, so there we go.
Thanks, cheers. Hi, guys. So from your experience, do you find that the people that do 30-day challenges, Veganuary, stuff like that, is that a decision they've kind of already made a little bit in their minds and this is the next step? Because I guess where my question is around people that maybe don't make that decision and just making veganism a little bit easier every day. So the choices they can make are just easier choices. Like, it's behaviour change at the end of the day, right? Yeah. So I'm just wondering, is it like, people, like for the 30-day challenges, is that a step they've already decided on and this is really to cement that, or is it massively undecided, or... Did you understand the question, or am I talking?
Yeah, no, that's a good question.
Yeah, I think it's a mixture, to be honest. I think a lot of people sign up to take 30-day vegan pledges because they've already got it in their head. They want to try it, and they want to go vegan, and they want some help. But I think from our vegan pledge, we get a lot of people challenging their friends and family to take the 30-day vegan pledge. They say, well, I'm going to do the 30-day vegan pledge. You've got no interest in going vegan. Why don't you do it with me, though? It's a cool challenge to do. Challenge a mate, challenge your mom, challenge, your siblings. And so we get a lot of people doing it who aren't actually interested, but who do enjoy the process, and then we get good feedback from them. So I think it's definitely a mixture.
Yeah, I think the same for Veganuary as well. We've got a bit of a slide this afternoon on just what motivated people to do the challenge and remain vegan as well. And I think in the previous talk, somebody said about the power of social media and YouTube and other things, and I think that's been very powerful for us. Certainly a lot. I can count in our little cloud that I've got certain key terms there, and one's cowspiracy, one's vegucated, one's forks over knives. So I think that's encouraged people to do it as well. So But I think people are thinking about it, and like Alex says, people, it's perhaps a bit of a challenge, and they can challenge their friends and family. And actually that was captured a lot in our feedback from our surveys, that their mum or dad or brother or sister had challenged them to do it. So
I think you get a lot of people sign up also in the last day or two, don't you? It's sort of like, right, this is New Year's Eve, okay, I'm going to do it. So I think that's one of the things Veganuary has with New Year's Eve. It's like that's a traditional time of making, changes in your life, your New Year's resolutions. And I do think that's one of the reasons you get such a huge spike, which I think perhaps would suggest that people, like Alex said, it's like, come on, let's all do this together. And people are thinking, why? And it's like, well, why not? So I think probably a lot of people will do it. And that's just brilliant. I think that's a really clever part of the pledge. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we see similar things with the Animal Aid Challenge as well, in that, we ask people, what their diet's like before they sign up, and we were expecting the first year, like, mostly vegetarians, and it was a staggering amount of meat eaters kind of joining up. What we found was the same, is that people have all sorts of different motivations for doing it. Some of them, it's just like, I just want to give it a go and see if I can test myself. Other people, it is, they are committed they're pretty much committed to veganism. They just need that little push to kind of tip them over, sort of thing. It's interesting to find out. It is strange how it works with people. I mean, I've always said I don't really care why people go vegan as long as they do, because the animals don't care. If people want to go vegan because of environmental reasons or because of their health, then that's fine by me, as long as they go vegan.
Cool. Anyone else got a lovely question? Burning question, something to share, something to add before we wrap up? Anyone thinking of doing a 30-day pledge? Yeah? Ooh. Yay, cool.
Can I just ask then a quick... excuse me, sorry about that microphone, make a racket. There's the mic back. Do you see any problems with the vegan 30-day pledges, and do you have some kind of, evaluation in position to evaluate each year's campaign and see how you can improve?
We have feedback forms that we send out to everyone who takes part to find out what their experience of it was, what they liked, what they didn't like, and also to find out, whether they plan to stay vegan or not. Generally the feedback we have is really, really positive. People just love taking part. A lot of the things we get said, I'm sure you guys probably are the same, is that, people sort of, I wish I'd done this 3 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever. I wish I'd known how easy it was. And some of the times, we do get sort of people, the sort of suggestion, the feedback that we get that sort of people want changes is more usually, we just want more recipes. That's kind of like the thing we always get. But otherwise, people just say, just keep doing what you're doing, or promote it more, because you need more people involved. So those are the sort of the sort of constructive criticism.
I love what you've said, because that's the thing that I hear time and time again. Why didn't I go vegan sooner? It is not scary. It is so easy. I had a wonderful conversation with Arthur Ling, and he's regarded as one of the grandfathers of veganism, if you like. And he said to me, vegans don't know they're born. He said, you can go into a coffee shop, have a soya latte. He said, try going into health food stores and saying, please sell our soya milk. And they say, why? What's wrong with cow milk? And this was 15, 16, 17 years ago that he said vegans don't know they're born. And now we come forward to the support and the help and the 30-day pledges and the social media support. There's never been a time like it to make the most important decision of your life, one that's going to affect your health, your planet, and the lives of thousands and thousands of animals. There's not a decision like it that you're ever going to make. I just wanted to just quickly, because I know we're really out of time, we need about 6 hours with you guys. What is that one thing that stops that person at the end of the 30 days and they say, I just can't do it? What is it? What is it? Do they tell you? And how can we overcome it?
I don't think, we don't get people telling us necessarily
We
what
need to
stops
ask them. We need to find out what that is, because we need to eradicate that.
Yeah.
Because I bet it is the same thing for pretty much everybody.
I think the main thing that we see and that we hear about, because we do Vegan 101 sessions at events across the country as well, which is basically like an in-person version of the pledge. And the thing that most people want us to focus on is how to talk to your friends and family and social situations.
yeah.
That's what people struggle with the most, I think.
It's the question.
So if you're a younger person and you still live with your family, you still live with your parents, and you're going vegan, and you're not, you don't go out and do the grocery shopping, you don't do the cooking primarily in your house, and your parents aren't very supportive, or your family's not very supportive of you going vegan, that can be really difficult. And that's why it's great that we have organisations like Teen VGN who are really supportive of the younger community. But yeah, that's the main thing, I think, where people fall down is social situations, social pressures. If your peers aren't supportive, it can get tricky, it can get difficult. Yeah.
Okay. Should we have a lovely question from you?
Last one, actually. We'll be just wrapping up now.
Just quickly, I'm a teacher and I'm a vegetarian. I'm thinking of becoming vegan. But one of the things I've noticed is that our school canteen is absolutely appalling, not only in terms of, well, there's no question of veganism, but even for vegetarians. Is there anything that organisations like yours could do to put a little bit more pressure on?
Is it a secondary school,
It's
primary
a secondary school.
Where
So
are you
it would be
based?
extraordinarily
out of interest?
difficult.
Are you in Brighton?
Yeah.
Are there
There's-
no veggie kids in the school?
Well, there's lots of non-veggie kids, but I'm a vegetarian.
No,
as
but
I
are
say,
there
and
veggie
only-
kids in the school and they're not
I'm
being
sure there must
catered
be.
for?
Well, I don't think they're being catered for well enough because the veggie options are cheese rolls. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And I was like, you don't have very much for vegetarians. And they
Yeah.
said, we've got tuna. And I'm like, tuna's not a vegetable.
God. Well, I know we have school speakers and things like
Yeah,
that.
well,
What do you guys
obviously,
want to-
Animal Aid do the school speakers and have a really good education department, definitely. But something that we do as the Vegan Society is we actually work on quite a high level with government and with institutions like school boards to try and get catering for vegans everywhere. So schools, prisons, hospitals, care homes. That's the kind of level that we work at primarily as an organisation. So we do a lot of advocacy work, and on a one-to-one level as well, people can get in touch and we can help them. So if you wanted to get in touch with us, we could see what we could do to help you.
Could she see you now, Alex? And
Yeah,
get
you
your
can chat to
number?
me after, that's fine.
Yeah, lovely.
Brilliant.
I think we might be out of time, guys. And we've got the next lovely people coming in. I hope you found that helpful and inspirational. I feel very blessed to hear from these super guys. Should we just have a lovely, super loud round of applause for our wonderful experts? Veganuary, Vegan Society, Animal Aid.
So it's worth saying, isn't it, Karin, how hard, people in Animal Aid, Viva, Vegan Society, Veganuary really do work a lot, hard. I think these organisations deserve a massive amount of credit for taking forward veganism in this country. I think we're very lucky to have such a dedicated team. So thank you all.
Well done. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.